Hello folks, welcome back to Mynnnat.com Creativity Through Chess Chapter 6 Promotion Race. Viktor Korchnoi and Boris Spassky, both from Leningrad, today St. Petersburg, were bitter opponents for over 40 years, meeting in more than 60 matches in official contests. They both managed to move to Western Europe in 1976 and met a year later in Belgrade, back then Yugoslavia's capital, to decide who should compete against the world champion Karpov. We are 28 moves into the game and both players have their passed pawn almost at the final stage. Who will promote first? At a closer look, Korchnoi in white is in trouble. While his queen and rook are only one step ahead of winning the race, he didn't leave an opening for his king to escape, and if black's queen takes d1 rook, the game is over. Spassky, on the other hand, is less worried with white queen to b7 threatening his rook, as his king does have a way out, and he can sacrifice a rook for a checkmate. Does white have enough time to open the hatch for his king to breathe, or is it too late? Let's see. The game became very famous for the next move, pawn to h3. One needs ice-cold nerves for such a quiet move in the midst of the drama. But white calculated well. Can you see the sequence? Take a moment and pause the video. Okay, let's start. Black queen to a4, putting pressure on white rook. Rook takes pawn on d2. Note that there is no other option for white. Black rook takes white rook on d2. Now that white has sacrificed his rook to remove the checkmate threat, he is free to transfer the pressure back onto his rival. Queen to b7, and black soon realizes that before long he has to sacrifice his own rook. Black rook has no option but to go back to d8 to support the other rook, and white finally gets to promote his passed pawn, after which black rook takes back. Now that the dust has settled, we can see that Korchnoi's calculations were right. He emerges from the battle with a perfect pawn structure and a well-protected king, while black is in trouble. Rook to c7, putting pressure on g7. Black's only way out of this pressure is to sacrifice a pawn. First, queen to a1 check, white king to h2, black pawn to e4, which creates a way for black queen to protect g7. Queen takes e4, and from here, white has a clear advantage. He is one pawn up and has enough resources to capture black's isolated pawn. The game continued a bit more and eventually black resigned. Isn't it a work of art? That's all for now. The full game, as always, can be found below the YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed this episode by Mynnnat.com. If you did, please give us a like and go check our Amazon store for our unique chess sets. Discount coupons available on our site. The links are just below the video.